today we are going to be making this beautiful pocket beaded bag. For this tutorial, you're going to be needing your barrel or this shape of beads. You're going to need your fishing line in 0.7 mm. Of course, you're going to need your cutter to snip off your thread. I'm just going to push this aside and I'll cut off a fishing line, how to start a new fishing line. So what I'll do is very simple. We've been through this matting stage before, so this is matting basically, right? You pick up 4 beads, right? Pick up 4 beads on one side of the fishing line. So perfect. And so what we do is that we do not drop this totally off, because we are going to take the other side of our fishing line and we are going to interlock or cross, right? Remember what we said about interlocking and crossing? This is basically it. Passing the ends of our fishing line through different directions. Join the 2 fishing lines together and then we'll pull it down so that we'll have the beads on the midpoint. This is it. You see that? Very simple. Very simple. You see that? Very simple. So now what we are going to do, or now what we have here is we have one fishing line facing our right side and one facing our left. So from now I'm going to be using right left like that. Get used to it. Okay, here we have. So let's pick up one of the beads on our right fishing line, so, and then we'll take our left fishing line and pick up one bead and drop that, and I'll take the 2 tips again like we did before. Take the 2 tips, pass our bead through one of the fishing line, but for me I'm going to be using my right. I'm going to pass it through my right and I'll hold it like this. You see what I'm doing? Focus. And then now I'll take the left hand fishing line and pass through the opposite sides, crossing it to form the second brick shape. This is it. You see, very easy, right? So we'll continue again, but this time around we have gotten the 3rd row of our bead, right? And that 3rd row we are going to be turning it over so that we'll be able to go start our 2nd row. In this case, we'll take the fishing line facing the right side and then we'll pick up 2 beads and you drop it like this, and take the 3rd bead now and you interlock. So you cross it or interlock it with the left bead. You see what we have here? Simple. You see that? We'll just drag that in place. And please, when you're working on your bead, make sure that you always tighten your work, because it starts from here. If you do not tighten your work from this stage, you're going to find it difficult to do later. This is what I have here, right? So what I'll do next is, now what we have here is that we've got one fishing line facing our direction, which is the downward direction, and one facing the upward direction, right? So to be able to cross, we'll take the fishing line that is facing the upward direction, right, and pick up 2 beads. So 1, 2, and you drop that, and I'll take a 3rd bead and interlock it with the fishing line facing the downward direction. See, I've not moved my work. In all of this, I've not moved my work because I don't want you to get confused. If I'm working on this, ideally I'll be moving how I see fit, but because I'm trying to make this a very easy process for you to follow, I am not going to be moving the direction of my work. This is what we have here. Using the fishing line facing the right, I'm going to pass it through the bead here. Please look at it. I'm going to pass the fishing line through the beads here, and you want to be very sure that you're passing it only through one bead. This is what you have. I'm just going to raise it up a bit so you see that. I'll just pull out. That is it. So now what you want to do next, adjust your work as usual. so that you have a firm work. And now I'll go in with, I'll use my fishing line facing the left to pick up one bead first, and then I'll pick up a second bead and cross with it. I will interlock it with the fishing line facing the downward position, which is this. You see that? Simple. Let me readjust my camera too. That is it. Let's keep on going. Now we'll continue doing the same thing by passing our fishing line facing the right position to the next bead downwards. So see that beauty. Now because we are turning on to the next third row, we are going to use the fishing line that we just passed through these beads. We are going to use that same fishing line to pick up one bead first, and then pick up another and interlock with it. This that I'm teaching you is like the ABC of bead making. If we have fishing line, one facing up this one, and one facing down, which is this, right? What we are going to do next, we are going to take the one facing down or towards my direction, and I'm going to pick up two beads first, and then I'll pick up a third bead, and interlock with it, just like so. I chose this short thread because I am the fishing line, because I want to use it to show you if you have a short fishing line, how to finish it up, and then also how to start a new fishing line. So now we've interlocked, right? So what we have here is one fishing line facing right and one facing left. I'm going to use the right fishing line and pass it through this bead here. You see, very easy peasy. That is it. Here you go. And then now, using our left fishing line, I'm going to pick up one bead first, and then I'll interlock with another, which is the second bead, and then I'm going to cross with the second with a fishing line, and I'll cross it with the second bead. So this is it. What we have now is one fishing line facing the right, one facing the left. I'm going to use the fishing line facing the right to pass through this bead here, the bead right in front of me. That is it, and here you have it. So we'll continue, but my fishing line has gotten smaller, even though I can still continue working for it. But I did tell you that I wanted to show you using this video how to stop using a fishing line and then start with another, right? What we are going to do here now, if you get to this position, right, if you want to end your fishing line and start a new one, what you want to do next is simple. You can decide to knot your work here, or you can decide to knot it here. For me, I choose to put my knot in here. What I'm going to do next is I'll pick up, using the left fishing line, I'm going to pick up two beads to complete my work. So you see, and I'm going to just turn it into a knot. We have the loop method as well, but I prefer this method. I prefer to just knot. So this is what I've done. I just picked up two using the left hand fishing line, and with the other fishing line I'm going to tie. So this is how, if you don't know how to knot your work, this is it. You're just going to take this thread and, you see, almost like you're interlocking, right? And then you pick up this piece and put it underneath it and form a knot. So if you don't know how to form a knot, don't worry, I can do a close-up tutorial on that, but you just knot it 2 times. This is as easy as ABC. And because our beads are big, we can decide to take both fishing line and pass through. And the reason I also left a long tail is because I have plans to pass my fishing line through my beads all over again. So I'm going to be taking this fishing line and passing it through these beads, but for the sake of tutorial, so what you want to do, right, you just take this piece right? This, the one on this side and the one on this side, you take one and pass it through this bead here, pass it through this bead, pass it, just lose the bead. Don't just take it directly here, follow where the other fishing lines are following. You see this? Just follow that and you hide it in such a way that nobody will see your beads. This is what I'm going to do. I'll take the other fishing line in the other direction and I'll work my way all through these beads. That's what I'll do. But because, like, just do that and then you cut it off, that's all. So let's assume I've done all that and then I'm just going to trim it off nicely. You see that? To start another fishing line, you get a new you get a thread, cut ample amount of thread, and this was where we tied our work, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the fishing line, one side of the fishing line, and pass it through this bead. You see, pass it through this bead and make sure that I make my fishing lines equal by joining them together like so. And you want to also make sure that whenever you're working, one fishing line does not get longer than the other by making sure your work is centered. What we are going to do next, we are moving. This is the base of our bag. We finally finished the base. I'm going to show you this. We finished the base of our bag. This is the base of our bag, and we are coming to create the sides of our bag. And with this bag, I like to create the four sides together. I'll start off by creating this side, and then I'll move on to this side, move on to this side, move on to this side. What it is here, this is the base of the bag. I would assume that this is the front, and I'll assume this is the back, right? And these are the two sides. That's how I'm going to assume it. But because this bag is a square bag, is a square shaped bag, any place can be your front, any place can be your back, and any place can be anywhere, because they are all the same shape. The only thing you cannot interchange is the base. The base is only one base. It's only, you cannot have two bases. So let's continue. The more we continue, the more you understand. Let's continue by stringing in. Now we have one bead, one fishing line. Now you have one fishing line facing the right, one facing the left. Using my fishing line on the left hand side, I'm going to pick up two beads and drop it, and then I'll pick up a third bead and interlock. You see, I'll interlock across, and mind you, this is a brand new fishing line, so you may want to pay attention to what I'll do next. I'll be joining the tip of my fishing lines. I've already interlocked with them or crossed with them, so I'm going to be pulling it down. You see, the reason I'm doing this is so that my work is centered at the middle. This is what I'm going to have here. I'm going to have this shape, and I'm going to take this off because I want you to see it clearly. It may not seem as it, but I want you to just understand we've formed. You see that we formed our first side. We are going to this is the back of our bag, so we are forming the back of the bag. Now I'm going to flip it over like this so that it makes it easy for me to work on it. What we have is one fishing line facing the top position, which is this, the other facing the down position. Using the one facing the top position, I'm going to pass the fishing line through the bead next to it. So this is it, and I come out like so, ensuring that my work, the reason I wrapped my bead around my arms like this is so that this fishing line does not move while I'm trying to pass my fishing line through this bead. Remember, this is a new fishing line, so I'm trying to ensure that nothing moves. Right now, I'm going to take the fishing line that is facing, this was how it was, right? The fishing line facing my direction, this one, I'm going to use it to pass two beads into the fishing line. Pass two beads using the second bead to interlock. Don't worry about that sleepy giant. It's going to rise up once our bag starts taking form. So I'm just going to interlock. Do not forget that your work can still shift if you're not careful. So this is it. This is what we have. We are going to continue on by using the fishing line facing the top and passing through the next bead here. Let's just do that. See the Good. Next thing is I'll take the other fishing line and pick up 2 beads again, pass one down, and then use the second to interlock. Use the second bead to interlock. So as simple as ABC. Here you go. This is the point where our bag starts to take form, and this is it. This is the point where our bag starts to take its form, right? What we'll do next is we're having our fishing line, one facing the top position, one facing the down position, which is towards me, right? What we'll do next is taking the one facing the top position, we are going to pass through this bead, the bead on its side, just like so. We'll pass through the bead on its side. You may want to turn or flip your work over to face the other side while you work freely. We are moving on to forming the side of the bag. Don't forget that we've done, this is the back of the bag and this is now the side of the bag. So let's continue on. What we have here is, after we put our fishing line here through this bead, we have the bead and the fishing line facing the right, and then we'll have one facing the down position, right? We are going to be picking up, using the fishing line facing us, we'll pick up the first bead, and then now we'll pick up a second bead and interlock or cross with that second bead. At this point, don't worry if your work keeps falling off. It's this point on that it will start to take form, like I said, and it only gets better. Let's go. Let's cross with that. This is what we have now. We've created the first row for our side. Now what we have here is one fishing line facing the top position, one facing the down position. I'm going to take, and please, you can work anyway. Someone can even have their work like this. If you want, if this one will be easier, we could do it like this, where one will be facing the right, one will be facing the left. So let's do it right and left. So we'll do this now with the one facing the right. I hope I'm not confusing you. That was the one facing the top position before. I just flipped it over like this. So I'm having it face the right and one facing the left. Okay, I'm going to pass through the bead that is here, this one. I'm going to just pass through this bead. So see that? So you want to be very careful so that you don't have the beads pass through the second bead as well. Then I'm going to take, don't worry about this, it's normal, so I can drop it down, and then using the one facing the left position, so okay, I'm going to pick up 2 beads and I will interlock with the second bead. I'm going to cross or interlock with the second bead. This is it, and voila, look at that. Look at what we have. Very beautiful. It's already taking form. I love it. So now, using the fishing line facing the right position, I'm passing through the last bead on this row. That is it. To use the left hand fishing line, this fishing line, I'm going to pick up 2 beads. Pick up 2 beads and interlock with one. So I'm going to interlock with 1 bead. That is it. We are finally done with this row, and now we are going to flip it over to the front. So we've finished the sides, so now we are moving to the front, and just like as usual, we are going to pass our fishing line through to this bead here. Pass our fishing line through this bead, and then we'll pick up 2 beads using our left hand fishing line. Pick up 2 beads and interlock with the second bead. Pick up 2 beads and interlock with the second bead. So very easy, you see that? So this is the first roll for our front side. So now we'll continue on using the right fishing line. I'm going to pass through this bead, this easy. I'm going to pass through this bead, so, and then I'll pick up 2 beads again with my left fishing line, and then I'll interlock with the second, or I'll cross with the second. I'll cross with the second bead, and that is it. Forgive me, that is my puppy Xylo. It's a noisemaker. We'll continue again for the last row of our front side. We'll pass through this bead once more. Please, all this while, if you notice, I've been adjusting and tightening my work, and please, you need to do the same as well. Using the fishing line on the left, I'm going to pick up 2 beads again, and I'm going to interlock or cross with the second bead, giving us a grand finale for our front piece. And then we'll flip it over. This is our side. This is the other side of our bag. We are going to pass the fishing line through this one, the fishing line on the right hand side, pass it through the bead here. This is going to be a repeated process. I'm going to show you next how we can go to the next row. So pick up 2 beads using our left hand fishing line and interlock with the second bead. And please, I'm using interlocking and crossing interchangeably because I want you to get familiar with those terms, because when we move on to advanced class, I'm going to be using maybe 1 word or 2. I don't want it to now confuse you. That's why on this video you would have heard interlock and cross, interlock and cross. So I just passing the right fishing line, see that, through the next bead. This is it, this is it. And then taking the left hand fishing line, I'm going to pick up 2 again, pick up 2 and cross with the second bead. We've come to the juncture where our third row for the side is going to meet the back piece. So what we'll do here is simple, because we are going to also climb onto the second row for all of our piece. Here's what we'll do next. Pass the fishing line on the right hand side, which is this one. We'll pass it on to this bead and then to this bead as well. Pass through this bead, good, and then through to this bead. Perfect, perfect. And then what we'll do next is we are going to pick up 1 bead and interlock. It doesn't matter where you pick it up from, it doesn't really matter. Xylo, leave it. So we'll leave it, and yeah, that's it. We'll interlock, and this is it. This is the beauty of our work. You see that we finally created the first form of our bag. You can see this is the first form of our bag, so all the sides are complete. So we have 2 more layers to go before our bag is finally finished. This is where we came off from, right? What we'll do next is very simple. 1 fishing line at this point is facing the top position and 1 is facing the down position. Using the down position, or the one facing you or me, we are going to pick up 3 beads and lock with the third one, or interlock or cross with the third bead. So we are going to be interlocking with the third bead, because now we are coming to go to the second layer of our side, right? So this is what we have here, and I'm going to be stopping my work here. I'll knot and then I'll continue. Already use the fishing line that is facing the left hand side, and I'm going to pick up 2 beads. So, and I'm going to knot. I'm knotting twice, and then I'm going to take my fishing line together and then pass it through the beads till it disappears. I'm going to separate them after I pass the 2 into the first bead. It's at the middle before I continue. So taking the fishing line on the other side facing the right rather, taking the fishing line facing the right, I'm going to pass through this bead here, this bead. Let's go, let's continue. It's no different from what we've been doing like before, but like I said, when you start a new fishing line, or when you use a new fishing line, what you want to do is ensure that your work is always at the middle. Using the fishing line on our left, which is this one, we are going to be picking up 2 beads. Pick up 2 beads, and then we'll interlock with the second bead. And what I said is we'll join our fishing lines together before we pull our beads down, so that they remain at the middle of the fishing line. That way we always have equal fishing lines throughout our work. You see how long my fishing line is. This is usually the fishing lines I like to work with, so that I can use that same fishing line to secure my work. Okay, you can do it however you please, but I prefer this way so that I'll not have too many joinings in my work. Now I'm flipping it over. So we just finished the side, the second row of our side. Now we are moving to the front. So we are doing the front now, and the one facing the right. I'm going to move on to the next bead on our front here. I'll pass through this bead, pull it out, and then using the left hand fishing line, I'm going to pick up 2 beads again, pick up 2 and interlock with the second bead. I'll do that now. Interlock with the second bead. This is it. So we are just going to continue on. We'll be passing the right hand fishing line onto this one. It doesn't make the video to be so lengthy. You can understand what I'm doing through the hyperlapse, right? So just keep on going, keep on going. I'll just fast forward this side. Now we've gotten to the last part of the second row for our back piece. What we'll do here is taking the right hand side fishing line, we are going to go through this bead and through this bead, and we are going to pick up 1 bead with any of our fishing line and cross. So let's do that. Pick up 1 bead now and we interlock across. Now this concludes the second row for our sides and our front piece and our back piece. So this is what we have. Ensure that your work is firm. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and then watch out for part 2 of this